Take a moment, right now, breathe in, and be honest with yourself. How long have you been waiting for luck to change your life? Waiting for the right opportunity, waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for things to magically fall into place. You told yourself, someday it'll happen, when the time is right, when life finally gives me a break. But deep down, you feel it. That quiet frustration, that tired hope, that feeling that life is moving and somehow you're standing still. You watch others rise, others succeed, others build the life you once imagined for yourself, and you whisper a dangerous sentence: they're just lucky. But what if luck isn't the reason they moved forward? What if luck was never coming for you at all? What if the truth is harder, but far more powerful? This is not a story about talent, not a story about privilege, not a story about luck. This is a story about a man who waited. And the moment he stopped waiting, everything changed. His name was Kabeer, and his life looked a lot like yours. Kabeer wasn't lazy. That's important to understand. He had dreams, big ones. He imagined success vividly, financial freedom, respect, confidence, a life that mattered. In his mind, he was already there, but in reality, his life stayed the same. Every morning, Kabeer woke up with plans, and every night, he went to sleep with excuses. I'll start tomorrow. I just need one lucky break. Once things improve, I'll give my best. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, months into years, and somehow nothing changed. Kabeer confused waiting with preparing. He confused hope with action. He believed patience meant staying still, but life doesn't reward stillness. Life rewards movement. Each day looked familiar, too familiar. The same routine, the same habits, the same comfort zones that slowly became cages. He scrolled through other people's achievements, watched success stories like entertainment, and told himself, one day that'll be me. But one day never came, because one day doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who move. And deep down, Kabeer felt it. That uncomfortable feeling in his chest, that voice he tried to silence. The voice that whispered, "You're not stuck, you're avoiding responsibility." So he stayed busy but not productive, comfortable but not fulfilled, hopeful but not disciplined. Waiting felt safe, waiting felt painless, because if you don't try, you don't fail. But there's a cost to waiting. A heavy one. You lose time, you lose momentum, you lose belief in yourself, and worst of all, you begin to accept a life you never wanted. Kabeer didn't fail because he lacked ability. He failed because he outsourced his future to luck. He gave responsibility away and called it faith. But faith without action is just an excuse, and the longer he waited, the heavier life became. Until one moment, small, quiet, almost invisible, forced him to confront the truth. A truth that would shatter everything he believed and wake him up. Kabeer started noticing something that disturbed him. People around him were changing. Friends he once stood beside now stood far ahead. Not because they were smarter, not because they were more talented, not because they had some secret gift, but because they were moving. Every scroll on his phone became a reminder. New businesses, new skills, new confidence, new lives. And Kabeer felt something heavy rise inside his chest. Comparison. He told himself stories to survive the discomfort. They had connections. They got lucky. They started earlier. They don't struggle like I do. Those explanations felt comforting because they protected him from one painful truth: that effort was the real difference. Luck became his shield, an excuse dressed as logic. Because if success was random, then failure wasn't his fault. But slowly, that shield turned into a prison. He began to resent the very people he once admired, not because they changed, but because their growth exposed his stillness. Each success story whispered a question he tried to avoid. What are you doing with your time? So Kabeer distracted himself. More entertainment, more motivation videos, more dreaming. But motivation without movement is dangerous. It gives you the feeling of progress without the pain of growth. And the more he watched others win, the smaller he felt. Until one night, alone with his thoughts, the comparison broke him. Not loudly, not dramatically, quietly. He realized something uncomfortable. The people he called lucky were simply consistent. They showed up when it was boring. They worked when no one was watching. They moved even when they didn't feel ready. And Kabeer, he waited. That realization didn't inspire him. It terrified him, because it meant success was closer than he thought, and further than he'd been willing to go. The moment didn't arrive with fireworks. No applause. No dramatic breakdown. Just silence. Kabeer sat alone. No phone, no noise, no distractions. And for the first time, he couldn't escape himself. That's when the truth surfaced. Not gently, not kindly, but clearly. No one is coming. No mentor, no miracle, no lucky break. No one was going to hand him the life he wanted. And that thought shook him, because it meant everything he didn't have was his responsibility. His income, his confidence, his discipline, his future. It wasn't fate holding him back. It was avoidance. Avoidance of discomfort, avoidance of effort, avoidance of becoming someone new. He saw it all at once. Every excuse he had repeated, every delay he justified, every promise he broke to himself. And the heaviest realization of all, he had been betraying his own potential. Not intentionally, but consistently. That night, Kabeer understood something most people never do. Waiting is a decision, and it has consequences. You don't wake up one day and suddenly fail at life. You fail slowly, by choosing comfort over growth, today and tomorrow and the next day. The truth hurt, but pain has a purpose. Pain wakes you up. And for the first time, Kabeer didn't run from it. He stayed with it. He asked a different question. Not, why is this happening to me? But, what am I willing to change? That question changed everything. Because the moment you take responsibility, you take your power back. And in that quiet moment, with nothing but honesty and fear, Kabeer made a decision. Not a dramatic one, not a perfect one, but a real one. To stop waiting, to stop blaming luck, and to start building, even if it meant starting small. That was the night his old life ended, and the work finally began. For most of his life, Kabeer believed in luck. Not the playful kind, the dangerous kind. The kind that whispers, just wait a little longer. Your time will come. Things will work out. Luck felt gentle. It asked nothing from him. No sacrifice, no discipline, no discomfort. And that's why it was so appealing. because believing in luck meant Kabeer didn't have to face his habits. He didn't have to confront his wasted hours. He didn't have to change who he was becoming. Luck gave him hope without effort. But slowly he realized something painful. Luck doesn't lift people, it lulls them to sleep. Every time he blamed luck, he gave his power away. Power to chance, power to timing, power to circumstances he couldn't control. And what kind of life is built on that? A fragile one. That night, Kabeer asked himself a hard question. If luck disappeared tomorrow, what would I have left? No systems, no discipline, no structure, just wishes, and wishes don't build futures. That's when the truth became clear. Luck is not evil, it's just irrelevant. Because the people who succeed consistently don't rely on luck. They rely on habits. They rely on discipline. They rely on showing up, especially when it's uncomfortable. Luck waits for perfect conditions. Discipline moves in imperfect ones. And in that realization, Kabeer felt something shift. A weight lifted. Because for the first time, his future wasn't random. It was reachable. Not easy, not instant, but possible. As soon as he stopped waiting for luck, life stopped feeling unfair. Because now results had a reason, and effort had meaning. Kabeer used to chase motivation. He thought success came from feeling inspired, from waking up energized, from wanting to work. But motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes like weather. Some days it shows up, most days it doesn't. And life doesn't pause just because motivation is missing. That's when Kabeer learned the difference between people who dream and people who build. Builders don't wait to feel ready. They move first. Discipline isn't loud. It doesn't hype you up. It doesn't promise quick results. Discipline is quiet. It whispers, do it anyway. Do it tired. Do it scared. Do it bored. Show up when no one is watching. Work when the results are invisible. Commit when quitting feels easier. At first, it was uncomfortable. Kabeer struggled. Some mornings, his mind screamed for comfort. Some nights, doubt begged him to stop. But he learned something powerful. You don't need motivation to take action. Action creates motivation. Each small win gave him momentum. Each completed task built self-trust. And slowly, discipline reshaped his identity. He was no longer someone who wanted success. He was someone who worked for it. Consistency became his advantage. Not talent, not luck. Consistency. He stopped asking, "How do I feel today?" and started asking, "What needs to be done?" That single question changed his life. Because discipline doesn't depend on emotion, it depends on commitment. And commitment repeated daily turns ordinary effort into extraordinary results. Kabeer didn't become perfect, he became consistent. And that made all the difference. Kabeer realized something that changed everything. Success isn't built in a single day. It isn't built in one heroic effort. It is built quietly, invisibly, by small actions repeated consistently. At first, the habit seemed insignificant. Making his bed every morning, planning his day before it began, reading a few pages instead of scrolling endlessly, writing down what mattered most. He almost laughed at himself. What difference could this make? He asked. But life has a way of compounding. A single page read today becomes hundreds in a month. A single task completed today becomes momentum tomorrow. A single act of discipline today becomes confidence next week. The change was invisible at first, so small that it almost felt pointless, but Kabeer kept going, because he understood a powerful truth. Tiny habits build identity, and identity builds destiny. Every morning he chose to act, he was choosing the kind of person he wanted to become. Every small victory told his brain a story. I am someone who shows up. I am someone who finishes. I am someone who succeeds. And over time, those tiny habits stacked. One day, he looked back and realized he had transformed. The person he used to be, hesitant, waiting, scared, was gone. In their place stood someone quietly unstoppable. The lesson was simple. Don't underestimate the small. Don't wait for massive change to start moving, because the smallest step, repeated daily, can become the foundation of extraordinary results. Kabeer's next realization was harder than any habit. It wasn't about luck. It wasn't about motivation. It was about responsibility. For years, he had outsourced his life. He blamed circumstances. He blamed timing. He blamed other people. But now, he could no longer hide behind excuses. He had to own it. Every choice, every outcome, every consequence. Ownership is heavy. It demands courage. It demands honesty. Kabeer learned to ask himself questions no one else could answer. What am I avoiding? What am I willing to change? What part of my life is mine to fix right now? And here's the secret he discovered. The moment you take responsibility, you take your power back. Blaming luck is easy. Taking control is hard. But hard is where growth lives. Kabeer stopped waiting for someone to save him. He stopped hoping that conditions would magically improve. He stopped asking the world to bend in his favor. Instead, he said, I will create my own advantage. I will build my own success. I will own my life completely. And with ownership came clarity. With clarity came confidence. With confidence came action that could not be stopped. He realized no one can make you succeed, no one can save you, but you can. And that truth, though heavy, was liberating. Because once you accept full ownership, you are no longer a victim of life, you are the architect of it. And Kabeer finally felt what it was like to stand in his own power. Kabeer learned something critical. Success isn't just about what you do. It's about what you control inside yourself. Your thoughts, your emotions, your reactions. For years, he let his feelings dictate his actions. When he felt tired, he stopped. When he felt frustrated, he quit. When he felt discouraged, he gave up. But winners, real, lasting winners, don't operate this way. They act when emotions are absent. They act when motivation is gone. They act when the world seems against them. Kabeer began training himself, not with shortcuts, not with gimmicks, but with discipline. He learned to notice his emotions without letting them control him. Anger became fuel, not a weapon. Fear became a signal, not a cage. Doubt became a question, not a verdict. And slowly the difference became clear. The more he controlled himself internally, the more unstoppable he became externally. Mental strength is built in silence. It's built in small choices. It's built in showing up when no one notices. Each day he practiced patience. Each day he practiced focus. Each day he practiced resilience. And with that practice, his mind became like steel. His emotions became allies, not enemies, and his clarity of purpose became unshakable. Kabeer realized, you cannot control the world, but you can control yourself. And that is where true power lives. Kabeer discovered another truth. Confidence isn't born, it's built. Not through words, not through wishing, not through waiting. Confidence is the byproduct of repeated action. Every small habit he practiced, every disciplined choice he made, every day he took ownership of his life. These built more than skills. They built self-trust, and self-trust is the foundation of confidence. He learned to rely on himself, to keep promises to himself, to act even when fear whispered, "Stop." The results weren't instant, they weren't dramatic, they were quiet, subtle, cumulative. But over time, Kabeer noticed a change. He didn't need validation from others. He didn't wait for luck. He didn't rely on feeling motivated. He knew what he was capable of because he had done it before, and doing it again was inevitable. Consistency created predictability. Predictability created mastery, and mastery created unshakable confidence. Kabeer realized the profound lesson. You don't need to feel ready. You don't need permission. You just need to act again and again, and confidence will follow. Consistency is the silent engine behind every success story, and for Kabeer, it became the difference between dreaming and living. Kabeer had learned so much along the way. He learned that luck doesn't create winners. He learned that motivation is fleeting. He learned that habits, discipline, and consistency are the real forces behind achievement. But the final lesson was the hardest to accept. Success is never found, it is built. Brick by brick, day by day, choice by choice. No shortcut, no secret formula, no sudden break. It is painstaking, it is slow, it is invisible until one day it is undeniable. Kabeer looked back at the man he once was, waiting, hoping, blaming, excusing. He barely recognized him. That man had given his power away. This man, the one who showed up, acted, and built, was unstoppable. Every small habit he practiced, every day he took ownership, every time he acted despite fear, they stacked, they compounded, they created momentum, and momentum is unstoppable. Kabeer finally understood something profound. The world doesn't give you success. It doesn't owe you opportunity. It doesn't care about your dreams. But you can build your life anyway. Not with luck, not with excuses, not by waiting. Real success is built. So here's the question for you. How long will you wait? For luck? For inspiration? For the perfect moment? The truth is, it's never coming. The only thing that changes your life is you. Start today. Start small. Start imperfect. Take ownership of your choices. Practice your habits. Strengthen your mind. Control your emotions. Stay consistent, even when it feels boring. Every action you take compounds into the person you will become. Every day you act intentionally brings your future closer. Luck is a lie. Waiting is optional. Discipline and consistency are everything. Kabeer built his life. He didn't wait. He didn't hope. He acted. And so can you. Stop waiting. Start building. Because the life you want doesn't come to you. You create it.